like Sebastian said, 1,000 leads over a weekend, big awareness in San Antonio, in between 7 days. The campaign was over 7 days. And this is not possible to get such an awareness without creative ideas. And we have a very close partner based in Dallas in Texas, and it's the creative agency named Godot. And I'm so happy to welcome the chef, the boss of the creative agency, Godot from Dallas, here on stage. And he's talking now with you about what brand matters. Please give an applause, Todd Lancaster.
All right, I got my clicker. Is this the one? I got 2 clickers. They both work? Okay. All right, like I said, I'm Todd Lancaster. I am the Chief Creative Officer of Godot Discovery Company. 2 things about me. English is my first language, but I'm no better at speaking it. So, second, I'm from Texas, so I've got an accent too, and I say a lot of y'all, and we have words like Waxahachie, so bear with me. Really what I wanted to do is really kind of bring this whole iconic, this whole brand in focus. At Godot Discovery Company, we've worked with Gold for the last 5 to 6 years in all different kinds of capacities. At heart, we're an ad agency, but what we really are is a discovery company. And what that means is it's way more about living your brand than executing your brand. Executing your brand, anyone can execute it, especially in this day and age. Everyone knows the programs, everyone thinks they have a creative bone in their body, but really, who are you as a brand and how do you live it? So I wanted to use my 25 minutes, and we're almost to the end, so not many after me. So just to talk about who you are as a brand, why it matters, and then how you live it. Because especially in this day and age, there's a lot of eyeballs, there's a lot of attention on every brand out there, and if you're not authentic, you're kind of bullshit. And that's, thank you, Reiner, for saying shit earlier, so I have that. And also, by the way, you did mention you're from Wurzburg, and from a Dallas, Texas kid, born and raised, my entire sports hero is Dirk Nowitzki, so please, how can we set that up somehow? But anyway, the way we want to do it, the way I'd like to end this is, again, not hear from another marketing guy telling you what to post, how to post, what to do, use this creative, do this, but really give you the reasons why and give you something to think about the rest of this convention in the back of your mind as you're learning more and more about where we're going, where the brand is going, really why it matters and who we are. So, let me make sure this clicker works. All right, so iconic. Again, the word iconic's been thrown around all over the place today. The word brand has been thrown around all over the place. So, Gold's Gym, the theme of this entire conference, iconic, right? Sure, no shit. Gold's Gym is iconic. Reiner wouldn't have bought it if it wasn't. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't. So it's really not about that. That's a given. Gold's Gym is iconic. What it's about is the question about what kind of iconic you want to be. Because there's 2 kinds of iconic. The first kind of iconic is literally the definition, a point in time, a new way of thinking, a new idea that once helped usher in a new path. That's also long dead and only gets dusted off in the history books. That past tense of once helped is a big deal. Who's heard of the iconic Eli Whitney and his cotton gin? I have in like 6th grade in the history books. He was an icon of industry. He's dead. That whole idea is dead. It's in the history books. It mattered, but it doesn't matter now. It's been passed by. We don't want to be that kind of iconic. On the plane trip here, I was trying to download some quick things to watch on the plane from Netflix. I thought it was super interesting that on Netflix is a documentary about Blockbuster and how iconic Blockbuster was and how it revolutionized the way that people watched movies. It revolutionized the industry, all the licensing, all the way people got DVDs or video cassettes back then. And for 30 years, it dominated the way we watched movies at home, yet it's dead. There's one left, per the documentary in Bend, Oregon, and literally the company that took them over basically and made them obsolete is running a documentary on how they were iconic. So that's not the kind of iconic we want to be. The iconic we want to be Is that or this? We want to be a living, breathing force that never dies. That's neither old nor new. It just is. We want to be a company that's legacy is as powerful as its current and future states. I think that legacy is so powerful. We're going to talk about that in a minute, about how to leverage that. Gold's Gym, you can't hide it in a history book. It's in the history books, but don't leave it there. Bring it out. You got to live it. You can't bury it. People have tried. It's not happening. It literally, Gold's Gym keeps digging its way to the popular, the forefront of popular culture. That's who we are, and that's where we want to stay. And I think the biggest part of that is, it's more than just an icon, it's a brand icon, and there's a difference. You can be iconic, but a brand icon is a totally different animal, and one that quite honestly is yours. And that's the most important about this. If you don't hear anything that I say today, Gold's Gym is yours. It is not RSG's. It's not GoDo's who works on the brand. It's not individual franchisees. It's not even the members. It is yours, and it's everyone that engages with it. And as soon as we realize that and start living it from the top to the bottom, that's how we basically ride this wave. Then the wave is coming as we all start reemerging, and that whole fitness industry arrow starts going right back up. So the question then would be, what are you going to do with it? This is where I want to get into a little bit of so many people, like I said earlier, telling you what to do with your brand and how to post this and what's relevant, how to do it. Let's talk about what the brand icon is at first. Let's pull the curtain back and talk about really what is a brand icon. I want to use a couple of examples. I think Pierre may even mentioned one of them, Nike and Coca-Cola. Two brands that are kind of out of the scope of our industry, because I want to use two recognizable brands that you're going to be able to identify with. These are two iconic brands. What makes an iconic brand? You can narrow it down to about 3 pillars. There's 3 pillars of an iconic brand. Both of these brands have it. One is a globally known mark. Doesn't matter where you are, in what industry, people know this mark. But more importantly, is inside your industry, having over 90% of aided awareness. What now aided awareness is within a set industry, so within the soft drink or beverage industry for Coke, do at least 90% people understand not only what your logo is, who you are, but what you do and what your product is and what your products offer. Same with Nike. Within the fitness world, they've even moved away. Talk about a globally known mark. They don't even use their word mark anymore. It's just the swoosh. But they have over 90% aided awareness. And then 3, sell legacy versus product. There can't be any more importance on this. Selling a legacy versus product is paramount. And if you have a legacy, you have to sell it. For both of these brands, Coke's been around since 1886. Nike was founded in 64, just a year before us, before Gold's Gym. In all those 100 years of Coca-Cola, they've sold on their legacy every step of the way except one. 1984-85, Pepsi started catching up. Pepsi never even caught them, but they caught up, and Coke got a little nervous. So what they did was they quit selling on legacy, and they tried to play the taste game, those soda wars back in the 80s. And you know what? It sunk them. They failed. They launched new Coke. No one liked it. They hated it. They got out of their lane. They actually acknowledged there's competition and tried to step down to it. But the one thing that they did to climb back out of that, now some people may say that was an entire marketing ploy. Maybe not. Conspiracy theorists out there. But what they did to get out of that hole is they went right back to their legacy. They sold Coca-Cola Classic. They went right back to the top, and they've stayed there ever since. I think even through the pandemic, and through all this stuff, they're still worth $230 billion. So that's the power of your legacy. Not only if you get away from it, did it almost sink them, the first place they went right back to dig them out of their hole was their legacy, and they sold on it. So, again, $230 billion company, Nike's probably somewhere up there with it. Pre-pandemic, the fitness industry was heading in that direction. So how do we get up in that echelon? And are we, like Pierre said, how do we not only compete but stay on that iconic brand level? Well, here's how we do it. We look at those 3 pillars. Do we have these 3 pillars? Hell yes, we do. Do we have a globally known mark? Yes. 6 continents, 29 countries? I think so. Do we have over 90% aided brand awareness? Yes, we do. Over 2 years ago, we had 96% aided brand awareness. That means within any fitness market in the world, when you're talking about fitness with only the aid of your logo, you had 96% awareness. That is huge. And can we sell Legacy Versa product? We've had the Mecca since 1965, so enough said. Hell yes, we can do it. So how do we do this? How do we go? How do we keep riding this wave that's about to come? How do we get into those upper $1 billion of revenue? Well, there's a secret, and this is where I kind of want to pull back that curtain a little bit. The secret that those two brands know is they know their brand truth and they know how to live it. And I think in a certain way, everything you've heard today is about brand and about brand truth and about living it. But for one, what even is a brand truth? So I want to talk about that. We do, at GoDo, we do a GoDo session. It's a 3-hour whole morning thing. Again, I've only got like 15 more minutes, so don't worry. We're going to high level it. But what is a brand truth? What we do is help companies find a brand truth. A brand truth is rooted in a brand archetype. And I'm going to go back to those 2 examples of brand icons to give you an idea what that is. Because 1,000% Gold's Gym has a brand archetype, and we need everyone in this room to know it, and we need everyone in this room to pass that along to everyone from their members, to their staff, to anyone that works with them. All right, so a little bit of quick history lesson. What is a brand archetype? 400s BC, Plato, he introduced archetypes through stories and characters to understand universal truths and human personas. So basically what he did is he started talking about, that's where basically most of our literature is from, most of our mythology is from, through the entire world, through these universal archetypes, stories, and characters. Fast forward all the way to the 20th century, Carl Jung did a lot of research on this in psychology about how by the year, whenever he started working on it, in the 20s or so, he understood archetypes as a highly developed elements and themes in the collective unconsciousness and consciousness, see, I told you English, not so good, that we instinctively understand. So they've said basically from the years 2 to 3 years old, people understand, even children understand archetypes and they understand the power of them. I mean, entire franchises like Marvel has capitalized on the different archetypes to sell their different heroes and their different characters. And it's really woven into the consciousness of everyone in the world. It goes beyond language, it goes beyond visuals. So, quick review, archetypes, there's 12 of them. 12 universal personas that all people understand and either consciously or unconsciously choose to identify with. So whether you believe it or not, or whether you know it, you're identifying with an archetype. You can look it up. We didn't invent archetypes. We just study them and we just talk about them and we apply them to brands. So in branding, what it does, it gives your brand a consistent and authentic platform to message from. That's the biggest thing. You've got to use the archetypes to your advantage. And those brands like the Cokes and the Pepsis, the Cokes and the and Nike, they know how to use it, they know how to live it, and they do. So here's what a brand archetype is. This is a little bit sciencey, but you guys need to know it. People again, marketers just spit stuff at you all the time without telling you the meaning of it, and I think this is going to help us get past how we can live this. So brand archetypes are split into 4 quadrants. It's basically the question, why are you here as a brand? Why does your brand exist? Your brand exists to provide structure, seek enlightenment, leave a mark, or connect with others. The biggest hang up people have, and goes deep in this 3-hour class we do, is you have to choose a quadrant to message through. You message your brand through one of these quadrants. By messaging through one of the quadrants, you're not discounting the others. Through your quadrant, do you fulfill the others? So, for example, if the purpose of my brand is to leave a mark, by leaving a mark, we will then connect with others, provide structure, and seek enlightenment. That's how it works. So you have to first find your purpose quadrant. Then comes the archetypes. So within the archetypes, there's 12 of them. Again, I'm not going to go through all of them, but I will again go back to those 2 examples. They're globally known examples, so it'll give you an idea of how an archetype works and how a brand speaks through one. So let's go to Coke. Coke is an innocent brand. They speak through the seek enlightenment quadrant. So by seeking enlightenment, they provide structure, they connect with others, and they leave a mark. Coca-Cola is an innocent brand. Let's go over a couple of the tenets of an innocent brand. The innocent, the goal of that brand it boils it down to simplicity, is to be happy. The traits of an innocent brand strives to be good, pure, young, optimistic, simple, moral, romantic, and loyal. The marketing niche for an innocent brand is companies with strong values, seen as trustworthy, reliable, honest, associated with morality, good virtues, simplicity, and can be nostalgic. That fits Coca-Cola to a T, right down to their mark. There's nothing more nostalgic, there's nothing more simple and innocent than handwriting. Their logo is their cursive logo that was handwritten in 1886, and they've stuck with it ever since. That's their branding. Think about their bottles, nostalgia. They never changed it, they've stuck with it, they keep on going. Santa Claus. Coke basically invented the Santa Claus we know. Before 1886, before they started their marketing campaign, Santa Claus was a lot more Scandinavian and a lot more St. Nicholas and a lot more leaving shoes at people's doors than he is the big fat guy with red puffy cheeks and a beard. And it's been that way, and they market him that way, and it's been that way ever since. There's nothing more innocent than that. All the way to their current brand marketing, which their mascots are a polar bear. Think about their language. Everything they do is through that lens of being an innocent brand. There could be world wars. There could be all kinds of stuff going on in the world. They don't get in the fray. They stay out of it. Their slogans through the years, this is from the 80s, have a Coke and a smile. Coke adds life. Simple as that. Not deep, innocent. If you're as old as me and have a gray beard, then you probably remember the commercial where literally on the side of a mountain, every race, gender, nationality are all on the side of a hill singing, I'd like to buy the world a Coke. Harmony, hand in hand. That's how they sold their product. That's how they sell their legacy. Even from 1971 to in 2017-16 when they started putting the names on their cans. Is there anything more innocent than putting your name on the can? Everything they do is through the innocent lens, and that's why they don't skip a beat. Down to even during the pandemic, in some smaller markets, they even started doing cans that had blanked, and there was a Sharpie in the 12-pack where you could write your own messages on the cans. So that just gives you an idea of how important it is to stay within your brand archetype and speak through it. I'll give you a really, really quick, this example is getting a little old, example of what their biggest competitor, I mentioned Pepsi earlier that was gaining on them. Pepsi in 2017, they kind of screwed up with their whole archetype. They've messaged through the jester archetype, we're not going to get into it, but they marketed through the jester archetype since their beginning. Everything from Michael Jackson in the 80s, doing silly stuff, setting his hair on fire. You've got Cindy Crawford buying Cokes in the middle of the desert on the side of a road. In 2000, so they've always done the gesture. They stayed in their lane, and people understood them. That was the authentic Pepsi. 2017, a lot of the social upheaval that we're experiencing now started 16, 17. And during that time, Pepsi decided, you know what? We're going to drop $1 billion in media. This is tailing off the Super Bowl. We're going to drop $1 billion in media. We're going to pay one of the Kardashians or Kendall Jenner to star in this commercial, and she's going to fix the world with a Pepsi. So that commercial had her, they launched this on YouTube. It was a sneak peek. So Kendall Jenner has got a Pepsi in her hand, and she's walking through the streets, and every gender, race, social problem, social issue is all being shown in different visuals. She walks all the way up to the police line of the protesters, and with all the riot shields and the riot gear, and very a la the photo from the Vietnam War where the woman puts the flower in the soldier's gun. She walked up to that riot shield cop, gave him a Pepsi, he drank it, and the world was beautiful. It took 1.2 seconds for the first tweet to go out that said something in the line of, oh, so all Martin Luther King had to do is give those boys a Pepsi. That's all it took for that whole campaign to crash. They never ran it again. They lost all that media they dropped. It was a colossal failure. You had Kendall Jenner in tears on all her channels apologizing for how insensitive that was. Why? Because they didn't speak their brand truth. They were Michael Jackson and Cindy Crawford and fires and whatever else they're doing. They got out of their lane and it hurt them. So that's the importance of staying in your lane and just outside of our fitness industry, a way to show that. So let's talk about the other example, Nike. We share something with Nike. Their purpose quadrant is leave a mark. And they're a hero brand. And you know who else is? We are. Gold's Gym is a hero brand. If you want to get really deep into it, we've been around longer and basically started franchise fitness. So we also have some of the sage archetype in us because we have over 50 years of training experience. But basically, we live in the hero quadrant. Let's talk about how Nike does it. Well, first let's actually talk about what the hero archetype is. The goal of a hero archetype brand is to help improve the world. Now, I want you to think about your gyms, and I want you to think about Gold's Gym when I go over this. The traits of a hero brand: courageous, bold, honorable, strong, confident, inspirational, achievement, and discipline-oriented. The marketing niche is to make a positive mark on the world, solve major problems, or relentlessly pursue goals and inspires others to do so. That last sentence is huge. Part of a hero brand is enabling or inspiring other people to do so. If you're doing that, you're not a hero and you're failing. So that's a hero brand. So how does Nike do it? Nike does it with one thing. We had, through a lot of our travels, a lot of the talks we go to, we got to hear some of the Nike executives talk about their brand. Some questions from the audience was, okay, you guys have to be a rebel brand because you stand up for athletes and you're doing a bunch of different things. You make some controversial decisions with your brand. And their CEO said, no, we are not a rebel brand. We're a hero brand for this reason only. We unapologetically are a hero for the athlete. That's their mantra, and that's how they are a hero brand. It does not matter what the rest of the world thinks about it. Unapologetically, they're a hero for the athlete. Let's talk about that. Again, I'll show my age. Back in 1993, Charles Barkley was one of their premier shoe sponsors. Barkley's always been outspoken. He says a bunch of those words you're not supposed to say. He got in a little bit of trouble, with some fist fights in a bar. And he popped off in a news contract very recently after signing a huge deal with Nike and said, I'm not a role model. You are, parents. I'm not going to raise your kids. And you know what Nike did? Nike made an entire campaign out of that. They unapologetically backed the athlete and backed their athlete. Down to, they had crazy cartoon versions of these commercials with Barkley, and they had basically him calling out not only that he's not a role model, that he actually kind of called out the people that were supposed to be raising their own kids. And that was controversial, especially in 1993. Fast forward to now. What happened when Colin Kaepernick took a knee? Well, Nike stood up behind him. That was controversial. That pissed a lot of people off and said they're never going to buy Nike again. But you know who it didn't piss off? The athlete. The athlete was supported. And what that did to the athlete world is all those athletes that signed with Nike, they realized that company was loyal to them. And if the company is going to be loyal to the athlete, who is loyal to the athletes? The fans. And they didn't lose a dime. Now, they pissed a lot of people off, but they didn't effing care. They didn't care one bit because they unapologetically backed the athlete, and that's how they're a hero brand. Now, they do that two ways. Those are two controversial ways they do, but you know what? They're not always controversial. They literally have the legends of every sport, and much like Gold's Gym does, they celebrate their legends. The Jordan brand is as popular today as it was in '85, and Jordan hadn't played since '98, all the way to LeBron now and his shoes. So yes, they make some controversial decisions, and they back the athlete at all costs, but they also do a good job of celebrating and signing and encouraging the entire new crop of legends of their sport. So let's apply it to Gold's Gym. How are we going to live our brand? How are we going to live the hero brand? It's going to be very scarily similar to how Nike does it. We need to be unapologetically a hero for the fitness enthusiast. The fitness enthusiast could be the kid down the street or the bodybuilder that's about to enter a competition. But we have to be a hero for that person because if we're a hero for them, they'll be loyal to us, and the people that look up to them will be loyal to Gold's Gym. So everything we do, we back the bodybuilders. We back the fitness enthusiasts. We celebrate our legends. We've got the Michael Jordan of fitness. We have the LeBron James of fitness. Celebrate them. It all comes down to this: strength and performance at all costs. That should be our mantra. Just think about that when we're making our decisions and when we talk about our gyms and we talk to our staff, when we talk to anyone, strength and performance at all costs. When we remodel a gym, That's who we are. That's what we unapologetically back. It's strength and performance at all cost. Because in the end, there's icons out there, but they're dead, and we're way bigger than just a badass logo. And it is a badass logo, but we are a badass brand living our truth, and we need to do that unapologetically at all costs. Strength and fitness at all costs. And that takes all of us, every single one of us. I kind of talked about this earlier. This is not the responsibility of the brand agency or the CMO or the marketing. If we're not all doing this together and being unapologetically authentic and consistent, then we're going to fail. Sebastian, I'm sorry, I used corporate, not company owned. But hey, corporate, it's on you. You got to live it. Franchisees, you got to live it. The trainers and the staff, you got to live it. The members, don't forget the members. They are your brand. They carry your brand. You got to pump them up. You got to let them know that you have their back, and it's strength and performance at all costs. It's us, the vendors, every single one of us. If we're not speaking the same Gold's Gym language, then we're not doing this iconic brand justice. So that's what we've got to do. Luckily, we've spent the past 7 months working on this with the Berlin team, with the LA team, with the Dallas team. Really kind of making a concise new style guide, a playbook for marketing, a playbook for social media, revitalizing the Stronger newsletter, trying to get you guys the tools. So we're not going to talk about how we're going to live this truth and we're going to live our brand, we're going to do all this and just leave you out on your own. We'll be there with you every step of the way. That's what we do. But again, we all have to live it. So this stuff is coming. This stuff is going to be coming. You guys will all have it. And I was about to say you could personally just call me and I'll help explain it if you want to, but maybe I don't know how you get a hold of me. But anytime you need any help with brand or brand truth or talk, you know where to go. The one thing I want to talk about from that, I'm not going to go over the style guides, I'm not going to go over that, but I do want to talk about one thing. The most important thing you can probably get out of that style guide is your tone. And I want everybody to think about the brand tone this entire week, while you're here. Think about who you are, think about your gym, how you talk to your employees, how you talk to other people, how you talk to your members, because your tone plus your archetype is your brand truth. You're a hero brand, and you unapologetically are going to back the fitness enthusiast at all costs, and this is your tone. And I'll make it quick. Strong. It's literally what we've built our foundation on. We have a reputation, and we're not letting it go. Speak strongly. Encouraging. We say it like it is. If that next rep or whatever is going to hurt, we're going to tell you. It's never derogatory, but always supportive. We're always encouraging. Third is bold. Sometimes irreverent. Hey, get close to that line. Don't cross it, though. Never be insulting. We're bold. We say what needs to be said, and that's how we talk, and that's how we do. And then succinct. Hopefully, like this presentation was, it's not long-winded. We're not writing books. We're working out. Say it quick. Finish your reps. No one wants to hear people talk too much. There's too much crap out there on the internet. There's too much crap everywhere. Be strong, bold, encouraging, and succinct. And that is Gold's brand truth, and that's how we live it. Before I go, I also don't want to be one of those marketing guys. And Reiner, you said it a minute ago. I don't want to be the agency guy that's thinking of creative ways to spend your money. We're in the boat with you. We want to live that truth, and we're going to live it. So we work with brands all over this world. We've created brands. We shepherd brands. We foster brands. Our brand, it's up here. Our brand is important to us. We're go do. Go do great things. Go do and discover. That's who we are. But just to show solidarity, we kind of noticed something about our logo. We're like one letter away from you guys. So for this week and this week only, we are Gold's Discovery Company. We're here. I'm wearing it on my shirt. That's what we do. We're here with you. So again, the one thing, if I can leave anything with you the rest of this week, when we're talking about remodels or our staffing or anything we're talking about, think of your tone and think of your brand truth and take that back home to your gyms and live it. Thanks.